Okay, so good morning participants. I hope I am properly audible and visible. So just give me a thumbs up. Karimunisa, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's begin with the class. Yes, so first of all, good morning to all of you, and there are hardly 2 months are remaining for the prelims examination. So we are approaching, yes, very fast towards the prelims examination. So the purpose of these classes, let us define the purpose of this class. Now there will be 25 sessions. Now these 25 sessions I will be covering, yes, because the content load is very high. So I will be covering from what Monday to Friday, yes, so each and every week. So in 4 weeks we are going to cover around 25 classes. Now daily I will be doing a class and will be sharing a handout. I hope you must have received those handouts. And these handouts, yes, Shutosh. Yes, sorry. Okay. Sorry, there was an interruption just for checking whether all these systems are working or not. Yes. Okay. Now, so the purpose of these classes, you must have got all the daily handout, the first daily handout, and how these daily handouts have been designed. Now, we all know that the current affairs will be impacting certain major areas. The first major area, maybe you know, is economy, environment and geography, international locations, and then there are what certain general current affairs. Now, the general current affairs will be impacting what areas, even history, even areas like polity. So, though history and polity are mostly static in nature, but the current affairs influence the certain things in history also. For example, new excavations, new findings, new ASI reports, and or maybe an inauguration of a temple or anything which will be impacting history. That means that portion of history becomes important. So today the first thing that I am going to start with the certain current affairs induced history first. Now, so and further I will be sharing around 50 multiple choice questions with answers and explanations again on daily basis. So at the end of the 25 classes, you will be getting enough content for you to revise and enough questions with answers and explanations, and these explanations are also very wide and broad in nature, so that they will also be adding to your knowledge content. So all in all, the entire exercise has been designed that you can easily target 30 to 35 questions which are current affairs driven in the forthcoming examination, because my purpose is to ultimately give you the best. So my name is Ritesh Singh. I have been teaching for last 13 years, though I have got a work experience of more than 25 plus years, including working with Government of India as now I am an ex lateral entry civil servant. Now 13 years I have guided various students to success, and now you are under my guidance, so you will be definitely moving very smoothly to the prelims examination. And once you have done with the prelims examination, you will be coming under my guidance for improving your writing skills through essays and general studies answer writing. So on this note, let's start the class. Any query, any doubt, so please keep on sharing by typing. Yes, by typing I will be picking up those doubts and queries. So when I'm going to go through these handouts, my purpose will be, I will be highlighting the importance of the current affairs. I will be highlighting which portion of the static portion, which portion of the GS or static portion of GS you should be again reading more, because in the range of the current affairs, the static portions cannot be added in detail. We know history current affairs is linked with static history, polity with static polity, economy with static polity. So all the static portions cannot be added in the current affairs revision part. But I will be hinting which static portion which you should be simultaneously revising once you are going through the current affairs notes, so that it becomes a very comprehensive knowledge. So on this note, let's start the class. I hope everything very clear. So again, a thumbs up is required. So please give a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Okay, so very clear, sir. Thank you. So let's start with first current affairs of the day. So first current affairs of today is talking about a temple, that is a Diga temple. Now Diga temple. So this Diga temple was inaugurated in the state of West Bengal, which is almost a replica of the Jagannath temple of Puri. So that means what becomes important? Jagannath temple of Puri becomes important. So again, this is a static part which you should be becoming more aware. Now, Jagannath Puri temple, first of all, it is known as White Pagoda. Now, what is a pagoda? Pagoda is a tall, yes, is a tall temple structure, is termed as pagoda. And why it was termed as white pagoda? Because of the white lime plaster. Yes, when it was visible from what may be a distance, it was looking like a white, yes, like white pagoda. So white pagoda, so hence Jagannath temple becomes important. Now this Jagannath temple, so this Jagannath temple is basically now linked with what? Which dynasty? Eastern Ganga dynasty. Now there were two dynasties, Western Ganga and Eastern Ganga. So Eastern Ganga dynasty was in Kalinga. Western Ganga dynasty was in Karnataka. So there should be a differentiation. So these are the important dynasties of early medieval period. Early medieval period. So again, you should be revising something about these dynasties. So Western dynasty, Western Ganga dynasty and Eastern Ganga dynasty. So this is Eastern Ganga dynasty, that is Jagannath temple. And the famous king is Anant Varman. So Anant Varman is the most famous king from the Eastern Ganga dynasty, and you should be able to study more about Anant Varman and the Eastern Ganga dynasty from the basic history. Now, further, now this the style of this temple. So we know Kalinga, that is Odisha. So the style of this temple is Kalinga temple architecture. Kalinga temple architecture, but I have added some more information for you, and this information is, first of all, which is now the Black Pagoda temple. So again, a related information. The Konark Sun temple in Odisha is termed as a Black Pagoda. So White Pagoda is the Jagannath Puri temple, and the Konark Sun temple is Black Pagoda. Now why it is termed as Black Pagoda? Because from a distance, its structure is giving a darker impression, or a darker impression for the viewer from a distance. So Jagannath Puri, a whiter or means more lighter impression from the distance, hence White Pagoda is Jagannath Puri and Black Pagoda is the Konark Sun temple. So further, more information about a Western Ganga dynasty. The Western Ganga dynasty was an important ruling house of ancient Karnataka. Mostly they were the feudatories of the initially the Chalukyas or Rashtrakutas, later the Cholas, they were the feudatories. So hence what we are gaining here is certain additional information which you should be referring from your basic history notes. Now Kalingan style of what temple architecture. So now Kalingan style of temple architecture is basically comprising of three parts. So three distinct type of temples, that is Rekha, Dwala, Pida and Khakra. Yes. So here when you talk about the Rekha part and the Khakra part is housing the sanctoriums where the deities are being kept. Yes, where the deities are being kept. And when I talk about the Pida is basically for dancing and offering halls, that is for the congregation of the people, where the people assemble. So here, so three divisions are there in a temple, Rekha, Pida and Khakra. Again, this is Kalinga architecture. When we see the image, so this is the Rekha part, this is the Khakra part, yes. So this the taller structures, yes, the taller structures that we are talking were housing the deities. And when you talk about these congregation halls in between, these are for the assembly of the people for singing or praying together, for singing or praying together. So Kalinga style. So more about the Kalinga style of architecture, you are again going to refer the contribution of the Eastern Ganga dynasty with respect to what? The Kalinga architecture. The first information, the first current affairs of the day. Teja, we can also include Saturday, so do not worry. But usually, as I am going to give you this content for you from Monday to Friday, I will be actually verifying from you whether you require Saturday class or not, because the content will be very comprehensive. You may also be requiring the time to revise. You may also be requiring a time to revise, so that is also equally important. Not to rush with the classes. Now, Maratha military landscapes. We know Marathas, the Sahyadris, the Western Ghats, and they constructed various strategic forts there. So there were multiple forts constructed by the Marathas. So all these forts, the mini forts and the major forts, are now being included. Yes. So Maratha military landscape of India got inscribed into UNESCO World Heritage List at the 47th session of World Heritage Convention. The UNESCO World Heritage List comprises of, yes, the cultural as well as natural. So cultural heritage as well as the natural heritage. So forts are the part of cultural and historical heritage. Okay, so more about the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So World Heritage Site, so they comprises of cultural, historical and natural and other significant values. Now it is guided by Convention concerning protection of world cultural and natural heritage. We know there is a requirement about conserving both the things which are natural in nature as well as cultural in nature, because both of them are interlinked with our own legacy of the past and will be helping us in the future also if we conserve them more. So the World Heritage Committee is responsible. Who is responsible? World Heritage Committee is responsible for selecting and monitoring the World Heritage sites managed by the World Heritage Funds. World Heritage Fund got established in 1977 under the World Heritage Committee. So again, the year is important. So World Heritage Fund. Now, World Heritage Convention adopted in 1972 by the General Conference of the UNESCO. UNESCO is a specialized agency, the specialized agency of the United Nations. So there are around 15 odd specialized agencies of the United Nations. So again, you should be knowing more about these specialized agencies, their origin, their purpose, and India's connection with them. So please note that you have to study something more about the UNESCO. So all the UN specialized agencies, you are supposed to study their origin, their motive or purpose, and India's connection with them. How India is related with them is basically a part of that. So World Heritage Convention. Now, now this came into effect in 1975. So World Heritage Committee was constituted based on the convention within UNESCO, and India ratified, yes, India ratified the World Heritage Convention in 1977 itself. Now, how many World Heritage sites in India? So there are around 44. There are around 44 World Heritage Sites, 36 cultural, 7 natural sites and 1 mixed site. So actually, when we talk about World Heritage Convention, comprising of 3: cultural, natural and mixed. Now mixed means which is having both the features, natural as well as cultural. Now only mixed site in India you can note down is Kanchenjunga National Park. So Kanchenjunga National Park is basically a mixed UNESCO heritage site in India, Kanchenjunga National Park. Now last year, Moidams of Charaudev, Assam. Moidams were the graves, yes, are the graves of the Ahom kings. So Moidams are the uniquely constructed graves of the Ahom kings of Assam. So Moidams of Charaudev, Assam was inscribed in the World Heritage List at the 46th session of the World Heritage. Now India ranks 6th globally and 2nd in Asia Pacific region for most number of World Heritage sites. Most number of World Heritage sites. Now, next temple which is going to come in our discussion is Vara Lakshmi. So, Vara is again an avatar of Vishnu. Okay, Vara is also an avatar of Lord Vishnu. So, Vara Lakshmi Narayan Swami temple. So, Vara Lakshmi Narayan Swami temple is Simachalam. Simachalam in Andhra Pradesh is experiencing certain structural issues because the temple is old, there is a requirement of maintenance, structural issues are being witnessed there. Now, so Shri Varalakshmi temple, Simachalam is a Lord Vishnu temple located in Andhra Pradesh where Simachalan hill range. So, what you came to know, first of all, a hill range which is located in Andhra Pradesh. So, sometimes when we talk about the location based question, so location based questions will definitely be testing your knowledge of the locations and the areas around them, maybe geographical feature around them, and maybe match the following. So, Simachal hill range is basically in what Andhra Pradesh, and it is now linked with history, current affairs because of this particular temple. Now, this temple is linked with certain dynasties. So, again certain dynasties are going to become what highlighted here. So, again you are going back to the history notes and try to revise those portions. So, revising those portions, so hence the first is Kulatunga. Yes, so Kulatunga from Chola. So, Kulatunga Chola of Tamil Nadu, that is of the Chola dynasty, made endowment to this temple as evidenced by the inscription dating back here. So, here, so first major dynasty and the king associated with this particular temple is Cholas, the great Cholas. Then Chalukyas of Vengi. So, that is Chalukyas of Vengi, the eastern Chalukyas. So, there were again two Chalukyas, western Chalukyas and eastern Chalukyas. So, the western Chalukyas were there again in the Deccan part of the Karnataka and upper Maharashtra and the lower Maharashtra. And we talk about the eastern Chalukyas of Vengi again extending towards what Odisha part. So, Vengi Chalukyas of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha renovated the original shrine in 11th century. Second dynasty which is linked with this particular temple is Vengis, is Chalukyas of Vengi or Eastern Chalukya. Again you have to revise something about the Eastern Chalukyas of Vengi. Then Eastern Ganga dynasty, present structure is largely attributed to Narsimha I of the Eastern Ganga dynasty. Narsimha I of Eastern Ganga dynasty. Now Eastern Ganga dynasty, again we have done before also Eastern Ganga and Western Ganga. So again Eastern Ganga dynasty. And lastly Vijayanagar, yes, Krishnadeva. So Krishnadeva of Vijayanagar also visited a temple in 1516 as recorded in the inscription. So four dynasties, Cholas, Eastern Chalukyas, Eastern Ganga and Vijayanagar. Now this temple is supported by 96 black stone pillars. Again this is a very interesting and a unique fact about this temple. 96 black stone pillars. Now, next temple is Mallikarjun Swami temple. The Mallikarjun Swami temple. Now, a 1456 copper plate inscription. This is very interesting fact from the Mallikarjun Swami temple, Sri Salem, again in Andhra Pradesh, provides India's first epigraphical, that is inscribed reference about the visit of Halley's comet. Now see the intermingling of science and history. So Halley's comet comes in what once in 76 years. So Halley's comet come. So that means that visual of Halley's comet which have been witnessed in this time period have been recorded in this particular temple's inscription. So Halley's comet. So about this particular temple, Mallikarjun's temple, Sri Shalam, also referred to as Mallikarjuna temple and the Dakshin Kailash, Kailash of the south, or the Kailash Parvat of the south, or the Kailash mountain of the south. Andhra Pradesh, again certain hills will be coming to picture, Nallamala hills. So again something more about the Nallamala hills. So please note down, read something more about the Nallamala hills. Additional information. Now further, Shiva as here, Shiva is other Mallikarjun and Parvati as Brahmaramba Devi. Both considered Swambhu. Swambhu means originating themselves, yes, originating on their own. Swambhu means the gods and deities who originate on their own. Swambhu. So this is the only temple in India where Jyotirlinga, which is linked with Shiva, and the Shakti Peeth here linked with what Parvati, yes, are together, yes, Shiva and Parvati together. So only temple in India where Jyotirlinga. Architecture constructed in Dravidian style, yes, we know Dravidian style. So there are multiple styles. We know there's a Nagar style of North India, Dravida style of South India, and a Deccan region there's a Vesara style. Again, when you are reading art and culture part, I hope you must have revised, you must have done certain art and culture from your basic notes and from maybe your classes. So three major revisions have to be done for all the three architecture style: the Nagar, the Dravida, and the Vesara style. Ecological setting lying in the eastern Ghats near the Nagarjuna Sagar Srisalam Tiger Reserve. So again, an information about this, you should be knowing more about this tiger reserve. Nagarjuna Sagar Srisalam Tiger Reserve. That's why I am highlighting that current affairs are going to open up multiple interconnections. So that's why these classes are being put, because sometimes when you read current affairs on your own, you tend to neglect certain areas. But UPSC is very, very smart. UPSC picks up those questions mostly from the interconnected part, yes, interconnected part, and can be framing a completely different question. For example, if the question is going to come from Nagarjuna Srisalam Reserve, you may be thinking that's a question about geography and environment. But maybe this would have been induced through this particular temple's interconnection. Okay, so there are huge lot of interconnections when you talk about UPSC question. So what you need to remember here is, first of all, the Nagarjuna Srisalam, okay, then Nallamala Hills. So there are two major informations which is linked with these two temples, and the Dravidian style, interconnected is Nagar style, interconnected is the Vesara style. Again, which dynasties are involved? Satvahans. So Satvana dynasty came in the peninsular India after the decline of Mauryas. So again, so Satvana dynasty becomes important. So go back to the history notes and revise Satvahans and Chalukyas and the Kakatiyas. So Chalukyas, okay, we know Pulakeshin II, important king. Kakatiyas of Warangal, again the Andhra Pradesh area, Kakatiyas. So two dynasties, Chalukya dynasty and the Kakatiya dynasty become important. Then came the Reddy period, third dynasty. Here are the Reddys. Now Reddys were a dynasty again ruling in the Andhra region, and they had their origin in around what 12th or 13th century AD, and by the 14th 15th century they were actually defeated by the Vijayanagar. Okay, so they were again overtaken by the Vijayanagar. So again, so Reddy dynasty. Though it's not a very prominent dynasty, still you should be knowing something about the Reddy dynasty. So Reddy dynasty were actually overtaken by the Vijayanagar. So hence Vijayanagar. Now Qutb Shahi rule, yes, Qutb Shahi rule, yes. So Qutb Shahi rule of Golconda. We know when the Bahmani kingdom declined, so there emerged what 5 independent kingdoms. So Qutb Shahis of Golconda also comes into picture. So 3, 4 and 5 dynasties we are talking about. So right from the Satavahanas, the earliest in the ancient period, then came the Chalukyas and the Kakatiyas, Reddys, Vijayanagar and the Qutb Shahi of Golconda. That is the breakaway what kingdom from the Bahmani kingdom. So all these 5. Again, the historical background you have to refer. Now, so that's why I initially started what the current affairs. So current affairs will be an amalgamation from various sources. First of all, the Magnum series that you are actually reading from the PMF IAS, I will be filtering the current affairs from those portions also, and I will also be adding the current affairs that I have developed so far from my side, and hence it is going to be a very, very comprehensive coverage. Now, so Magnum series plus the additional current affairs developed by me. So all those will be compiled in terms of the most relevant ones. We know current affairs are very huge in nature because it is comprising of both the prelims aspect and the mains aspect. But as you are approaching the prelims examination, so let us only focus on the prelims aspects first. And many times what happen, there are a huge volume of current affairs. That means over a 15-month period, 12-month period, volume is very large. But over a period of time, which current affairs remain relevant, that has to be diagnosed first. So my task is to ultimately filter out the most relevant for the forthcoming examination, because the current affairs gain in relevance, certain current affairs gain in relevance for the examination, and many current affairs are not so important for the examination. So I will be picking up all those current affairs which are important and gaining in relevance for the examination. Very clear? So hence your task will be very, very easy in terms of what going through the daily content that I am going to provide, and also revising those 50 multiple choice questions with answers and explanations. Okay, so that task you have to carry forward along with the simultaneous revision of the static portions that you are already doing. Now let's see about a campaign. Yes, Swasth Nari means healthy women. Shashakt Parivar means a very empowered family. Abhiyan. It aims to strengthen the healthcare for women and children in India, promoting access, care and awareness with active participation from the private hospital. So just note down Swasth Nari Shashakt Parivar Abhiyan. This is basically try to cater to the women health and also empowering children in India. And it's a public, it's through the public private partnership model, PPP model. It is a landmark health initiative by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and the Ministry of Women and Child Development. What are the key features of this program? Now, SNPSA will deploy more than 1 lakh health camps. Yes, health camps which are linked with the primary health centers, and also the community health centers. So primary health centers, so these will be linked with what? Directly dealing and linking with the PHCs and the CSCs, community health centers, which are being termed as Ayushman Arogya Mandirs. So Ayushman Arogya Mandirs are simply primary health centers, and community health centers. Okay, to ensure comprehensive screening for women health issues like anemia, hypertension, diabetes. So there's no requirement of remembering these problems. Here the focus is targeting the women, the focus is targeting the health of the children, hence directly dealing with what are primary health centers and the community health centers. Hence SNPSA is dealing with the issue of women and children, health issues of women and children, with the active engagement with the primary health centers and the community health centers. So a portal has been created, Shashakt portal, will track progress in real time. So Shashakt portal is linked with SNPSA. So many times UPSC give portals, okay, with the portals linked with which of the following schemes and programs. So you should be knowing that this is particularly linked with what? SNPSA. Now, so targeting the menstrual hygiene, nutrition, wellness through education at Anganwadis and other health camps. So key takeaway of this current affairs is SNPSA is the health initiative, health program targeting the health of the women and children via PSCs, via community health centers, and also via Anganwadis. Now next is Moran community. Now Moran, so that means Moran is a community which can be definitely is in news, because this community first of all is in Tinsukia district, and where they are living is rich in mineral resources like oil, coal and tea. And this community has launched the economic blockade, stopping the movement of the goods from this particular region, because they are demanding a status to be included in the scheduled tribe. So what is the first information coming from this current affairs is Moran is a community demanding the scheduled tribe status. Where it is residing? Tinsukia district. Now Tinsukia district is basically rich in various mineral resources like oil, coal and tea. Now as they are demanding the ST status, if this demand is not going to be fulfilled, so they are creating what? economic blockade. That means this can hamper the movement of what? Raw mineral resources and even processed goods. So this economic blockade can be hampering the free flow of trade and commerce. So, but this is a way of right to protest. So right to protest is also a part of the fundamental right. So this community is protesting to be included into the ST. Now Moran community is an aboriginal tribe of Assam. It is an aboriginal tribe of Assam. Once had an independent kingdom before the Ahom rule. Now this is important information. Ahoms. In India, Ahoms are the longest ruling dynasty. So it ruled for almost 600 years, starting from 1300 something till 1900 here, or 1800, sorry, 1200 something to 1800. Almost ruled for 600 years. The Ahoms of Assam. Again, this is an important information which you should be actually be going back to history books, taking back from history books. That is Ahom dynasty. Further, when we talk about religious affiliation. Now, the religious affiliation, when we are talking about, so Moran community is linked with what? Which religious sect? So Moran community is linked with what? 17th century Aniruddha Deva. So Aniruddha Deva is again a Bhakti saint. So, and the related information which is coming into picture is Bhakti. Okay, the Bhakti saint. So the Bhakti movement in Assam, okay, becomes very, very important for your revision. So the key highlight points again I am highlighting is scheduled tribe status, okay, Moran, Ahoms and Aniruddha Deva, and the presence of Bhakti movement in Assam. So all these are the additional information which you are going to refer to. Now they belong to the Memorious sect of the Vaishnavism. Again, this will be coming into a revision when you are going to revise Bhakti movement and the impact in Assam or the Northeast India. So again, a related information. The Morans are one of the 6 communities along with the T tribes, Motok, Tai, Ahom and Koch Rajbongshi that are agitating for the scheduled tribe status. So all these scheduled tribes are definitely now you're going to link with the state called Assam. Now, next is Northeast Sparks. Northeast. The Union Minister of Development for Northeast region interacted with the school students for the NER, Northeastern region, who participated in the NE Sparks program. So what is Sparks program? Sparks is linked with definitely something which is linked with STEM. So it's a flagship initiative to promote the STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths from the Northeastern region. So targeting the uplift of STEM careers from the Northeast regions. So hence Northeast Sparks. This is just information for you which is important for you. Hence collaborative effort is supported by the Ministry of Development of Northeast region in collaboration with 8 Northeastern states, means the collaboration with the Union Ministry with the state governments of the Northeastern states. And Northeastern Space Application Center of ISRO. Northeastern Space Application Center of ISRO. So what is the key takeaway? NE Sparks is supposed to upgrade the interest towards the STEM careers, collaboration between the Union Ministry as well as the state governments and also with the ISRO wing of the Northeast, that is Northeastern Space Application Center ISRO. Now funding. The program is funded by Ministry for the responsible for the Northeastern region and the state governments in the ratio of 60:40. So 60 is coming from the union government and 40 the share to be provided by the state government. Now, so that's why all this information becomes important. Yes, Abhijit, Majuli Island is known as the home of Vaishnavism. Good. Now, Child Nutrition Report 2025. A UNICEF report titled Feeding Profit, How Food Environments Are Failing Children, reveals how unhealthy food environments are contributing to the worldwide surge in various overweight issues, obesity issues in children. in children. Now, we all know unhealthy food is taking over. Fast foods, okay, ultra processed foods having high sugar and high salt content is now become a fad or a fashion among the youth or the children, is creating for futuristic problem with respect to obesity, or the obesity has become almost like an epidemic, giving rise to various health issues which are mostly non-communicable diseases like what BP, the diabetes, or maybe possibility of a cardiac arrest or heart attack. All these are the issues which are actually creeping up very fast. So, what are the key findings of the child nutrition report? So, high prevalence of overweight and obesity. So, 1 in 5 children and adolescents 5 to 19 are living in with overweight. This is with respect to the entire world. It's a UNICEF report. That means almost 20% of the children are now either obese or fat. The reasons are unhealthy food environments, weak legal protections, and most countries just rely on voluntary and fragmented measures, leaving children with the unhealthy food system, because we are finding that it's more, it is also becoming a very fad among the Indian children also. They are more into what cold drinks, the colas, and the burgers and the pizzas. Okay, and we are seeing that this type of thing is almost spreading like an epidemic. It's creating what multiple issues with respect to what child health, growth, and even a healthy individual in the future. Now, there are certain definitions which are being given with respect to this nutrition status of children and adolescents. Let's see these definitions first. Now, who is termed as overweight? Yes, so children aged less than 5 years. So, how to decide whether a child is overweight or not? What are these global standards? What are the global standards? Overweight is defined as a weight for height, yes, weight for a particular height. If there is a greater than 2 standard deviation from the average as per the world WHO. So, means greater than 2 standard deviation from the global average will be termed as overweight. Now, when you talk about the obesity now, okay, obesity now or the severe overweight, if the deviation is more than 3 standards above the WHO child growth norms, so above 2 standard deviation will be overweight, and above 3 will be having obesity. Yes, is obese. Wasting. What is wasting? When the height is there, but accordingly the weight is not there, means underweight. Okay. So, there is what imbalance with respect to the height and the weight. Okay. Height may be what may be height is more, yes, in comparison to weight. So, weight is not according to the height. That means it is talking about underweight. So, severe wasting when it is less than 3 standard deviation below the WHO average. So, with particular height, if the weight is below 3 standard deviation, then the person will be termed as wasting. So, weight is not according to the height, that is the person is underweight, wasting. Now, children and adolescents aged what, 5 to 19 years. So, overweight is defined as the BMI greater than 1 standard deviation, obese 2 standard deviations, thinness less than 2 standard deviations. So, again these type of definitions become important because these can be put as statements in the examination. So, just one revision of all of these will be helping you in retaining some information in the mind, and you can easily eliminate or choose the right options when once these type of statements become visible or in the on the question paper in the examination or in the questions in the examination. Now, next is basically an information about something from Indian Navy, and that information is IAS Androth. So, the information here is the Indian Navy has received Androth, the second of the 8 indigenously built, what are these? Anti-submarine warfare shallow water crafts. So, these are supposed to what, target the submarines of the enemy. Submarines of the enemy. This is named after the Androth Island of Lakshadweep. So, how the name? Androth Island of Lakshadweep. Again, this is an important information. Androth Island of Lakshadweep. So the name honors the legacy of the previous INS Androth. Built in India, it's indigenous. So India's manufacturing institution is Garden Reach and Shipbuilders and Engineers, which is there in Kolkata. So what is to be remembered is what is Androth, INS Androth. First of all, Androth is an island in Lakshadweep. INS Androth is basically an anti-submarine vessel. That is the enough information for you from this particular current affairs. Now, so anti-submarine vessel. So these vessels are designed for anti-submarine operations, coastal waters. This is low intensity maritime operations and mine laying missions. Just for information sake. Now this is very interesting. Digital transformation in Gram Panchayats. So we know we talk about e-governance. So e-governance means we should be utilizing all the possible e-governance tools so as to upgrade the functioning of the Gram Panchayats. We know with the coming of the 73rd and 74th amendment, especially 73rd, there have been what the democratization of the institution at the grassroots level, but their efficiency has to be improved. Now, for improving the efficiency, yes, technology is not the only factor. There are multiple factors: education, training of the panchayat members, okay, upgrading the structure, more budgetary allocations to the panchayats, more power to them to collect the taxes. Okay, those are the separate things of the governance reforms, which I will not be talking here. But definitely one more tool which is required to upgrade the functioning of the panchayat are the use of e-governance tools. Now, which are the e-governance tools which are important from the perspective of making panchayats very proactive and efficient? So, Ministry of Panchayati Raj has launched digital reforms for Gram Panchayat. So, now what are those tools? First is Sabasar. Sabasar is an AI tool that produces structured minutes of the meetings from the Gram Sabha. So we know Gram Sabha is a standing body of the panchayats, which is comprising of all the eligible voters who are 18 years and above. Now we know the Panchayati Raj system should be working through Gram Sabha's consultation, and for these consultation there should be regular Gram Sabha meetings. And we know for the meetings there is a draft agenda. After the agenda has been discussed, then there are minutes of the meeting, means what are the outcomes of the meeting which are requiring implementation. So here, here we are talking about Sabasar. This is for AI tool for converting the minutes of the meeting ASAP. Yes, the outcomes of the meeting, that is what were the discussion points. Minutes are the discussion points, and these discussion points are being laid out by the use of AI tool for reference and reading for everyone. So Sabasar. Then is Swamit. Survey of villages and mapping with improvised technology in villages. Grants rural houses legal ownership papers for their homes and land, facilitating bank loans. So it means the ownership rights. So Swamit is basically what basically is a tool is an application which is going to properly map, yes, the ownership patterns across the villages. That is the houses ownership as well as the land ownership, and these can also becoming collaterals for getting access to bank loans. So hence facilitating bank loans. BharatNet, we all know, is the spread of the fast speed internet to the rural areas. So BharatNet, this is actually already in progress. Then comes e-Gram Swaraj. E-Gram Swaraj. So this comprehensive application integrates core panchayat functions like planning, budgeting, accounting, monitoring and reporting, asset management and online payments. So e-Gram Swaraj. So all the functioning of the panchayats to be moving online, yes, through e-Gram Swaraj. Then comes Meri Panchayat app. Is an integrated mobile governance platform promoting transparency, accountability and citizen participation. Okay, so Meri Panchayat have e-Gram Sabha, then Panchayat Nirnaya are the decisions. So the porter schedules meetings, means meetings of the Gram Sabha, notifies citizens of agendas, records Gram Sabha decisions, and replacing paperless process with automatic workflow. That means the AI tool will be generating the minutes, but for that the coordination for meeting, this is a coordination app where the schedules of the meeting are being actually announced, okay, notify the citizens of the upcoming meeting and the agenda, and finally using the AI tool to generate the minutes of the meeting for easy reading and reference. And then comes Gram Manchitra. Manchitra is again mapping, rural mapping. So Gram Manchitra provides a unified digital map to visualize developments works aligned with them the Gram Panchayat development. So visualize development works means tagging of the rural assets. If there are rural assets which are being created under MGNREGA, again those can be geotagged, which projects have been completed, which projects are going on. It is going to provide the entire mapping of the finished projects and the upcoming projects in the rural area. So all these are the tools which are linked with what e-governance, which you can easily write in the main examination also. What are the tools which are required to be functioning efficiently for upgrading the governance structures in the Panchayati Raj system in the country? Okay, now, so I have what completed the initial general current affairs part. So daily I will be covering what general current affairs, environment current affairs, economy current affairs, science and tech current affairs, and also IR current affairs. So this will be brought 5 major divisions. Okay, 5 major divisions. So those people who are following the class, yes, since the start, I hope the things are smooth for you. Things are smooth for you. So I just want your feedback at this moment. Is this space okay for you? Is this way of interconnecting and highlighting the basic area is okay with you? So please give your remarks in this regard. I hope the things are fine. Okay, thank you, Aman and rest of the people. Yes, so these notes. So keep on following this. So Project Cheetah. Now we know Kuno. Kuno was the first home for the cheetah, which were imported from Africa. Now there is a plan to create a second home in Madhya Pradesh. So Madhya Pradesh plans to introduce a female cheetah. So a second home is going to be created where? In Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary, aiming to establish a second home for the cheetahs after Kuno National Park, which is part of the Project Cheetah. Now, in which year? Additional information, the background, the Project Cheetah got initiated in the year 2022. Now, this is a part of what? This is operated by Project Tiger. Now, there is no Project Cheetah separately, there is no Project Cheetah separately. But this cheetah reintroduction, their management, their maintenance in the certain designated wildlife sanctuaries are under Project Tiger. So, who is managing this? Operated under Project Tiger. So, Project Cheetah is the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translation project and implements the Cheetah Action Plan. Implements the Cheetah Action Plan. Now implementation and governance. Now, National Tiger Conservation Authority under the NTCA. So NTCA, you are supposed to read more about the National Tiger Conservation Authority. You should supposed to read more about the Project Tiger. Project Tiger began in 1973. Project Elephant began in 1992, and then later in 2024, both Project Tiger and Project Elephant got merged in terms of action plans. So again, so related information, Project Tiger, try to study. NTCA, study. As I just mentioned, Project Elephant, also try to study. Project Elephant. So as a statutory body, NTCA establishes the Cheetah Project Steering Committee in 2023 to supervise, evaluate and advise on the project's implementation. So major body now is NTCA. The entire cheetah reintroduction and their welfare and further development is under Project Tiger. Now, so this again is going to provide an ideal habitat, which is basically savanna type of ecosystem, which is visible in Africa. Now, this is again interesting. India has added 7 natural sites in the UNESCO tentative list. Now, what is a tentative list? If a country wants to include a particular site which is either natural or cultural, it has to first enter the tentative list, which then will be studied by the UNESCO what committees and finally given a tagged status of what UNESCO heritage list. So, India has proposed 7 sites to be included into the UNESCO tentative list. Now, which are those? So, tentative list is the first step towards UNESCO's World Heritage nomination. Okay. So, India, Archaeological Survey of India compiles and submits these nominations. So, this to be noted. Archaeological Survey of India, ASI. Again, the information. Now, you should be reading about ASI, note down, Archaeological Survey of India. You should be reading about ZSI, Zoological Survey of India. You should be reading about BSI, Botanical Survey of India. So, Archaeological Survey of India, Zoological Survey of India and Botanical Survey of India. Now, so which are the India's newly added sites? So, these are just for namesake and their locations. It's just for namesake and their locations. Now namesake and their locations. So, first Deccan Traps, Panchgani and Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra. Now, what is becoming important here is it is linked with what? Koina Wildlife Sanctuary. So, Koina Wildlife Sanctuary. So, Koina Wildlife Sanctuary. So, Koina Dam, Sahyadri Wildlife Sanctuary. So, Koina Dam you have to study. Then Sahyadri Wildlife Sanctuary, it is very important. So, here Deccan Traps where Panchgani, Mahabaleshwar, Koina Wildlife Sanctuary, Koina Dam and Sahyadri Wildlife Sanctuary, important. Next is Geological Heritage of St. Mary's Island where? In Karnataka. Just for namesake. Meghalaya Caves. So, Deccan Traps in Maharashtra, then Geological Heritage in Karnataka, then Meghalayan Caves in Meghalaya, Naga Hills, that is based on ophiolite rocks. So, these represent oceanic crust uplifted into continental plates. This may be a time period of the formation of a land and its and shaping by the oceanic crust. This offering deep insights into tectonic activities of the past. Okay. Yes, next is now, so geological heritage of Karnataka, Meghalayan caves and Naga Hills. Ophiolite means it is talking about the impact of the oceanic crust and the formation of the land. It is linked with the tectonic activity. Iramati. So, Matti is soil. It's talking about the red sand hills of Andhra Pradesh. Then comes natural heritage of the Tirumala Hills. Tirumala Hills again in Andhra Pradesh. Now this side is very, very important because here the two information is now becoming visible. One is Sheshachalam Biosphere Reserves and the Venkateshwara National Park. Again, you have to know more about these two, Sheshachalam Biosphere Reserve and Venkateshwara National Park. So, I have given a minor information about this. So, Sheshachalam Biosphere Reserve is located in the eastern Ghats of southern Madhya Pradesh, southern Andhra Pradesh. It is the primary home of the rare endemic red sandals tree. So, red sandalwood, which was targeted by various wood smugglers. So, red sandals tree, which is highly valued for its wood and medicinal properties. Now, so Sri Venkateshwara National Park is protected area and biosphere reserve located in the Sheshachalam Hills and the Tirumala Hills. So again, this becomes the important information. And last are the Varkala cliffs. So these are the 7 tentative sites which have been included or in the tentative list of the UNESCO proposed by India. Now, next is a very interesting tiger reserve. The name is Achanakmar or Achanakmar Tiger Reserve. So, what this tiger reserve is talking about? The increasing population of tigers. So, tiger population in Achanakmar Tiger Reserve, which is there in Chhattisgarh, has witnessed a rise from just 5 tigers to 18 in 2025. Largely due to the arrival of the tigress Jhumri from Bandhavgarh. So, this would have led to what maybe the mating of the tigers and have given rise to what various cubs. Hence, the population is increasing. Now, where is this located? Bilaspur district of Chhattisgarh. Achanakmar Tiger Reserve was established as a wildlife sanctuary in 1975 and became a tiger reserve in 2009. It is a part of, now again more information, Achanakmar Amarkantak Biosphere Reserve. Achanakmar Amarkantak Biosphere Reserve. Biosphere Reserve. Now, more information about the Achanakmar Amarkantak Biosphere Reserve. The reserve is a major watershed and ecological hub spanning the states of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. First of all, important information. It is a part of UNESCO World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Now, what are these? You should be knowing about the UNESCO World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Now, again, information is Maikal Range. So, Maikal Range, background, you should be knowing Maikal Range. Geography and environment always go together. So, geographical locations, hills, mountains, streams, river basins, tributaries, distributaries, all those should be highlighted. Wildlife sanctuaries, national park. Now, it is a source for 3 rivers, it's a 3-river source. Amarkantak is known as the king of pilgrimages. And unique, Narmada rises, river Son rises, and Johila, which is a tributary of the Son, also rises here. So, it acts as a watershed between the Narmada and the Ganges basin and also the Mahanadi basin. So, important information about this particular biosphere reserve. Achanakmar Amarkantak Biosphere. Now, this tiger reserve, I hope this very clear, is connected with this particular information. Now, tribal communities, ATR, Achanakmar Tiger Reserve is home to Baigas, which is a PVTGs. So, primitive tribes, yes, here we are talking about vulnerable primitive tribes, PVTGs. So, there are around, again you have to read about these, there are around 75 PVTGs in India. Primitive vulnerable tribal groups, there are around 75 PVTGs in India. PVTGs came as a result of the Debar Commission. Debar Commission of 1960-61, Debar Commission. 75 PVTGs. So again, you should be reading about the Debar Commission. And now 75, Odisha is having the highest number of PVTGs. So again, information you have to read about PVTGs and the Debar Commission. Now river and water sources. Now the Maniani River, which flows through the reserve, is also known as the lifeline. So which river is a part of this Tiger Reserve? Is Maniani River. Again, information. So now various information came from what that Achanak Mar Tiger Reserve. Now International Red Panda Day is observed in September. Awareness about the endangered red panda. And so what is red panda? It is also termed as firefox, lesser panda, or red cat bear. Now which are the locations in Himalayas? It is found in Nepal, Sikkim region of India, Bhutan, North Bengal of India, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and northern Myanmar to China's Sichuan and Yunnan province. That means the entire Himalayan region, mostly northeastern part, mostly the eastern part and northeastern part, and bordering the countries which are on the eastern wing, eastern part of India. Red panda. Now the location where basically the location of the red panda is in the, where I was talking about the eastern part, northeastern part, where there is a great bend of Brahmaputra. When the Brahmaputra is entering via what China, entering Arunachal Pradesh by making a great bend, divides their population to Himalayan red panda and the Chinese red panda. So that band, so that means the Chinese red panda is on the Chinese side, and basically the Indian red panda, Himalayan red panda on the Indian side. Red panda is declared as the Sikkim's state animal. This is to be noted. So it's a Sikkim state animal. Okay. Now further, primary bamboo dependent, but also eats plants and small animals, and it is also going hibernation. It also goes to hibernation in winters, extreme winters, Himalayan region. The red panda is listed in what endangered list of IUCN. So now IUCN red list is again information which you need to add on. What is IUCN red list and what are the type of categories of demarcation of animals from engenders to what may be vulnerable to all these type of things. So you should be able to what track down, yes, the divisions in which the animals, what existence and their future prospects are being demarcated, yes. Extremely vulnerable, endangered, extinct, yes, you should be able to what track down. Conservation status. It is also part of Appendix 1 of CITES. So this is a convention on international trade in endangered species. So Appendix 1 means it cannot be traded. It cannot be traded. So all the appendixes you should be knowing about the CITES. And also Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Now when you talk about the schedules of the Wildlife Protection Act, there are at least 6 schedules. So Schedule 1, Schedule 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should be knowing about the difference with respect to all the 6 schedules under the Wildlife Protection Act. So Schedule 1 means extremely protected species, extremely protected. Now conservation efforts. Now Padmaja Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park, which is there in Darjeeling, initiated a captive breeding program in 1990. Captive breeding program. So red panda, the information is very clear. So there is information. Red panda, Sikkim's state animal. It is coming through the band. The Brahmaputra band is coming. So again, information of Brahmaputra you should be knowing. Illegal trafficking reported in what? Singalila and the Nera Valley National Parks. So the illegal trading of the red panda has been reported from these 2 national parks. Now again, so these 2 national parks, again information coming from this from this current affairs. Now where are these? Again becoming important. So both Singalala and the Nera are the high altitude national parks located in the Kalimpong and the Darjeeling district of West Bengal. Kalimpong and Darjeeling is basically bordering what? Sikkim state. Bordering the Sikkim state. So Singlila contains, now again, important peak, Sandpuk, the highest peak in West Bengal. And this peak offers the views of the 5 highest peaks: Everest, Kanchenjunga, Lhotse and Makalu. Then Nera Valley National Park links the high altitude forest of Sikkim and Bhutan with the subtropical forest of Jalpaiguri. So Jalpaiguri is again what? Northern borders of West Bengal. So Nera Valley National Park is again important. It is linking the high altitude forest of Sikkim and Bhutan and also subtropical forest of North Bengal. So all these are becoming important information for you. Then comes Himalayan musk deer. As in Hindi we call them Kasturi Mrag. Kasturi Mrag, which is linked with the story of Ramayana. So Himalayan musk deer. So Central Zoo Authority reports no captive Himalayan musk deer in recognized zoos. That means captive breeding of the musk deer is actually not giving rise to the new offsprings. So what the zoos have reported, that there is no captive breeding of musk deer is recognized across the zoos wherever should be bred, yes, indicating no breeding programs has begun despite the 1982 Himalayan musk project. So 1982 Himalayan musk project was talking about that there should be what? Breeding of the musk deer, especially in the zoological gardens or the zoos. Now, Himalayan musk deer is a deer species found in the alpine regions above 2500 meters. The Himalayan region of India as well as in Nepal, Bhutan and China. Nepal, Bhutan and China. Now, physical description. The captive breeding, a musk deer breeding center was established in Kedarnath Wildlife Sanctuary in 1982. Kedarnath were in Uttarakhand, but erstwhile UP with 5 deer, which increased to 28 when it closed, and the last deer was sent to Darjeeling Zoo. India currently lacks founder stock, the initial pairs needed to start a breeding program. So what we have done is we have lost the process of what? Inbreeding of the musk deer in various zoological gardens. So this is a report, yes, and the conservation status. This is category is endangered, IUCN red list, and again cites Appendix 1. Now, a new information: a biosphere reserve, a cold biosphere reserve or a cold desert biosphere reserve has been recognized and created. The cold desert biosphere reserve in Himachal Pradesh in the Lahaul and Spiti area. Along with 25 biosphere reserves across several countries, have been included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves by UNESCO. So what is World Network of Biosphere Reserves? Again, an information which you should. But what is Cold Desert Biosphere Reserve, which has been included, where it is being located, and what are the features of this? So what are the features of this? Now, but first of all, when I talk about a world report on what biosphere reserves, now one additional information is emerging from that world report of biosphere reserves. There's an island country in what? Africa, yes, island country in Africa, where the entire country has been declared as a biosphere reserve. So this is an important information for you. Entire country, that country is Sao Tome and Principe. It's an island country in Central Africa, has become the first state to have its entire territory designated as a biosphere reserve. So where is Sao Tome and Principe? This is Sao Tome and Principe. Yes, it's the island country in Central Africa. Now this is Gulf of Guinea. This is Gulf of Guinea. Gulf of Guinea. Sao Tome and Principe. So the first information from the biosphere reserve is there is a country, at least there is a country in the world, which is an island country in Africa, where the entire territory has been declared as a biosphere reserve. This is additional information emerging from this report. Now, what are the key facts regarding the cold desert biosphere reserve? Let us come back to India. Now, location of the cold desert biosphere reserve, let's talk about that. In the Trans-Himalayan region, entire Spiti wildlife sanctuary, Spiti in Himachal Pradesh, and adjoining areas of Lahaul Forest Division. It integrates again certain national parks are coming into picture. So, what you are knowing that these national parks are located in which of the following states? These are located in the Himachal Pradesh, in the cold desert area of Lahaul and Spiti. Indicates Pin Valley National Park, Kibber Wildlife Sanctuary, again information. So, Pin Valley, Kibber Wildlife Sanctuary and Chandratal Wetland. So, where are all these? In the cold desert biosphere reserve, where? In the Lahaul and Spiti area of Himachal Pradesh. Now, it supports alpine grasses, medicinal herbs and rare standards of willow-leaved buckthorn. Himalayan buck means all the things which are linked with what? High altitude vegetation. So, important information, Trans-Himalayan region, Spiti and Lahaul, and there are certain conservation areas like Pin Valley, Kibber Wildlife Sanctuary and Chandratal Wetland. Now, what is World Network of Biosphere Reserves that you should be knowing under UNESCO? The World Network of Biosphere Reserves WNBR consists of a dynamic and interactive network of sites of excellence. Now, first of all, it promotes north, south, and south, north-south collaboration. UNESCO evaluation. The WNBR operates under the United Nations UNESCO Man and Biosphere Reserve Program, MAB program. Again, this becomes important. Now, what is MAB program? Again, you should be going through the basic notes. Man and Biosphere. Yes. Man and Biosphere. I have just given just one line on this, but you should be reading more about this, because in the realm of the current affairs classes, I can only hint on those areas which you require to focus more. Now, launched in 1971, the Man and Biosphere Reserves program is a protected area that aims to establish a scientific basis for improvement of relationship between people and their environments. People and their environments. People and their environments. Okay. Now, the World Network of Biosphere Reserves now includes 785 sites. Now, largest sites, yes, largest number of biosphere reserves are in a country called Spain. This is for your information. That is 50 plus. 50 plus biosphere reserves are there in Spain. So, the highest number of biosphere reserves are in a country called Spain. Now, biosphere reserves. So, there are three areas with the biosphere reserve. There is a core area, there is a buffer area, there is a transition area. Core area, we know the complete conserve, there is no activity is allowed in that. Buffer area where the eco-friendly activities supporting research, monitoring is allowed. Transition area where the communities can operate. So, three major divisions of a biosphere reserves. Now, biosphere reserves in India. India launched the biosphere scheme in the year 1986. How many biosphere reserves now in India? 18 biosphere reserves in India, out of which 13 are now listed in the UNESCO World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So, 13. So, please refer to 13 in the list. Which are those? 13 in the list. Again, whatever I am asking you to do with respect to revision of these with the additional information that you should be referring is your assignment or the homework for the day. Now, you have to go through which are those 13 biosphere reserves in the list of WNBR. Now, this is an interesting thing, a new thing. Environmental accounting on forest 2025. It means accounting means keeping a track of the forest and their impact. Means expansion of the area under forest, or maybe decrease in the area of forest, forest impact on what climate change, carbon sequestration, okay, forest, the quality of the forest wood, that all comes under the accounting of the forest, accounting of the forest. So, environmental accounting of forest 2025. So, which ministry is involved? Not the Ministry of Forest directly, but here Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Sometimes this becomes very, very important. That environment accounting on forest 2025 is being initiated by MOEFCC. The answer will be wrong. The answer is Ministry of Stats and Program Implementation. This is the 8th issue of its environmental accounts publication. That is being termed as Environmental Accounting on Forest 2025. Now, this is the first dedicated report on forest accounting based upon the UN system of environmental economic accounts SIA framework. So, again it has got an international standards. It has got an international standards. So, there is already an operating UN standards, UN system of environmental economic accounts framework. So, what is environmental accounting on forest 2020? Now, what is environmental accounting on forest 2025? What are its foundings? What are the reports? Let's see one by one, because UPSC can give them as options. First of all, it is compiled with the objective of presenting comprehensive information of forest accounts. Volume 1 outlines the methods being used, national level data for various forest ecosystem accounts, methods. Volume 2 presents the state and UT level data on decadal change. So, there are two volumes, methods first, and the volume 2 is presenting what the state and UT's decadal changes in forest assets. Now, what has been taken into consideration? First of all, physical asset counting. The first thing is physical asset. That means what is the forest cover? Has it increased or decreased? So, increased by this much of kilometer. Major contribution in terms of forest cover increase is coming from Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, all the southern states. All the southern states. Now, extent account. Extent account means that is the net increase in the forest extent, means extension of forest, not on the basis of what may be growth of forest, but also basis of redefining the definition of a forest, or maybe redrawing the boundaries. So, net increase the forest extent primarily due to the reclassification and the boundary adjustment. Again, on the basis of that reclassification of the forest and also the boundaries readjustment has also extended the range of forest, hence extent account. Physical asset is comprehensive increase. Now, what is condition account? Third account is condition account. It focuses on the quality of wood, yes, the growing stock, particularly the quality. This condition means volume of usable wood in the living trees. So, growing stock is also increasing, means it is not simply a forestation drive or afforestation drive or increasing the forest cover by using the low quality stock or the wood. Here it is talking about the health, yes, talking about the health is the quality, particularly growing stock, means volume of the usable wood in living trees. Is basically talking about the health of vegetation, especially the wooded trees, health of vegetation, especially the wooded trees. Now, service account, yes, what service the vegetation provides, what service the vegetation provides to the ecosystem. Now, timber or non-timber produce, so valuation reached about top contributors Maharashtra, Gujarat and Kerala. So, means the service, the valuation in terms of economic value. So this was the fourth category. Fifth category is regulating services, means the role of the forest in carbon absorption or the CO2 absorption, that is carbon retention and climate regulation. So the five major categories which are there in what that accounting, environmental accounting. Now, it is working under the guidelines of what UN System of Environment Economic Accounts, CR. So CR is an international statistical framework. It is supposed to integrate both the economic value and the environmental data to measure the environment's contribution to the economy and the economy. Because we know there are various environmental ethics. Once you are doing the ethics paper, you read about the various environmental ethics. For example, anthropocentrism, where the world is being seen from the human viewpoint only. That humans are the topmost species and then they can utilize any form of species, biotic species as well as the abiotic factors for their own benefit. Then comes what ecocentrism, biocentrism. There are various environmental ethics concepts. Here basically talking about ecocentrism. That means where the humans are not being seen as a superior species, where human beings are just one of the species, and hence there should be proper conservation of both the abiotic and biotic factors. Abiotic and biotic factors. So here it is basically talking from the perspective of ecocentrism. Developed by the United Nations, European Commission and the FAO in 2012. India formally adopted a CR framework in 2018. This is again an important information. Again an important information for you. Now, Greenland lakes. Now, Greenland lakes. So now, what has happened is due to the rising temperature of the earth, climate change. So we are knowing that there is a meltdown in the permafrost. So melting down the permafrost is also creating problem in Greenland also. So Greenland lakes turned which color? Brown in color and begin emitting carbon dioxide due to extreme weather events. Greenland is also in news because the US wants to take over Greenland. We'll talk about all those things in the location part gradually. I will be giving you more than 100 locations, international locations in terms of revision through these classes, so that any location specific question can be answered by you, because at least 3 questions will be coming from locations specific area only locations. So Greenland already in news. So but here let's talk about Greenland lakes first. Turn brown and begin emitting carbon dioxide due to extreme weather events. Causes transformation. Now this is the first time there is a huge witness of rainfall instead of snow. Snow in what? Greenland. Experienced rainfall rather than usual annual autumn snowfall. Hence the warming has led to large scale thawing, yes, means melting down of permafrost, releasing organic carbon and other minerals like iron and magnesium into nearby lakes, changing the color of the lakes. So the result is due to the thawing of the permafrost and the release of carbon components and other minerals into lakes, changing its color. Its impact: physical and chemical biological changes, water quality declined, phytoplankton impact. So phytoplanktons declined. So more the dissolution of what various material into the water reduce the sunlight reach, and the sunlight reach is very important for the phytoplankton increase. So also impacted the phytoplanktons. So reduce sunlight penetration hindered the phytoplankton, which rely on sunlight for photosynthesis and carbon dioxide absorption. There is a huge role of maintaining the climate of the earth by the phytoplanktons. They are extremely important, but their functioning got reduced due to the release of these carbon and related minerals into the water bodies of the Greenland lakes, reducing the performance of the phytoplanktons, and carbon emissions surged. Now just few words on phytoplanktons. Are the microscopic plant like organism, where they are being found upper layers of oceans. and also bodies of fresh water, that is inland. They are tiny size, but they are huge important. They are arguably the most important organism on earth for maintaining life. Can be termed as the lungs of the world. Though we talk about the Amazon forest as the lungs of the world, but here we are overlooking the impact of the phytoplanktons in the water bodies. Phytoplankton produce 50% to 80% of the Earth's oxygen through photosynthesis. They consume carbon dioxide and release oxygen, playing a critical role in regulating the global climate. So they are very important role in carbon absorption and release of oxygen. And they also form the base of the food web. They are being eaten by various fish, big and small. The base of the food web, they are primary producers. Nearly all marine life, from the tiny zooplanktons and small fish to massive blue whale, depends directly and indirectly on the phytoplanktons for energy. So they got a huge role. So what we found is Greenland lakes are turning brown because of the melting of the permafrost, changing the nature of the lakes, also impacting the performance of the phytoplanktons because they are cutting the sunlight reach in the layers of the water bodies. Now further, advisory opinion on climate actions. Advisory opinion on climate actions. Now advisory opinion. Who can give the advisory opinion and who can demand the advisory opinion? So let's see on the climate actions. So we require various climate actions. Many times they are not legally binding. So they can only be advisory in nature. But if we are talking about climate change and actions required, there may be certain reminders to be issued to various countries. And these reminders can be the advisories. So advisory actions can be the reminders to various countries to perform their roles in dealing with climate change. So who can issue that advisory and who can initiate such an advisory? So let's see how these advisory reminders can be issued. Now, first of all, the case which got highlighted was the case on the global responsibilities for climate change. It was led by a small island country of Vanuatu in the Pacific, a small island country in Pacific, resulted in what United Nations General Assembly requesting the International Court of Justice. So now there are certain organizations. UNGA coming into picture. So UNGA can initiate the issue of advisory via International Court of Justice. So organization ICJ becomes important. So again, you should be referring and reading about ICJ, International Court of Justice. And you definitely should be knowing about everything about UN system, UNGA, P5, okay, then UN specialized agencies. So entire UN system you should be knowing, World Bank, all those. Okay, so ICJ ruling. Now what ICJ stated in this regard. So what we are finding is, we know we are signing what global, there are multiple COPs linked with climate change. There can be agreements, but some of the things are not binding in nature, where the responsibility have been given to various countries to do their tasks. But if they're not doing, there's a requirement of reminders which can be advisories. So this case emerged from one of the Pacific Island countries. Why Pacific Island country? We know these are tiny islands which are facing the brunt of the climate change and the sea rise. Now, hence they were actually asking the UNGA to take certain actions in terms of bringing advisory and reminder. So on the basis of the initiative by a tiny country Vanuatu, UNGA has requested ICJ to reduce advisories. So the ruling transformed climate protection from aspiration to rule-based legal accountability. Climate protection is a legal obligation, not a policy choice. States must prevent serious harms and failure in an intentionally wrongful act. The states must regulate. So what are these advisory opinions? Advisory opinions clarify international law, if that is not clear to the countries, how that they should be operated by the respective countries, even bringing their specific country specific laws, how they can act. It's basically a way of what, making them more aware about international laws without creating binding obligations. without creating binding obligation. Who is the request authority? Who can request for issuing such an advisory? So UNGA or United Nations Security Council can request opinions under UN Charter Article 96. These advisories are non-binding in nature. ICJ advisory jurisdiction does not require consent from the affected state. Right to refuse. ICJ may also decline vague or ultra-vires advisory requests from the UN bodies. Okay, that means a country can remind UNGA or UNSC. UNGA and USC can go to the ICJ for issuing advisories. Vanuatu is one of the SIDS, small island developing state. One of the SIDS. So SIDS are islands of Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic, Indian and Pacific Ocean. They are a group of 39 states, though they contribute less than 1% of greenhouse gases, but they are facing the maximum brunt of the climate change because island countries sea level rise. There is a possibility that the entire islands will be submerged in maybe next 40, 50 or 100 years. They are facing the problems. Now another issue is declining snow. So International Center for Integrated Mountain Development is reporting that for the third consecutive year there was a below normal snow year in the Hindu Kush mountains. This year also, if you are living in North India, you must have witnessed that the entire winter season was very mild in nature. The snowfall has declined. There was only one snowfall in the areas called Uttarakhand, yes, or maybe Himachal Pradesh, one snowfall only. I still remember when I was growing up, I was almost 50, I am 49 years. If I go back 30, 40 years, even 25 years, 20 years back, the range of the winter season was very vast, yes, starting from around Diwali, means late October, early November, and used to continue till what, end of March, means Holi. And the season was having extreme temperatures in terms of what, coldness in December and January, extremely cold, and November really good in terms of cold, February really cold, and till the Holi, the coldness, yes, it was continuing, yes, it was continuing constantly. But now what we have seen is, okay, that October was warm, November was warm, December the first half was very, very warm, January very mild, not the January that we expect. That's why there was very only one major snowfall in the Himalayan region. So that has created problems. Now further, so declining snow in the Hindu Kush region. The Hindu Kush Himalayas are now an important center point for your information. Now, snow persistence refers to the fraction or time of snow remains on the ground during the snow season. So, which is actually declining. Cause of declining snow: climate change, land use changes, urbanization. Happens that urbanization in the Himalayan region, we have seen in India, they are cutting across the mountains, drilling the tunnels, okay, which is impacting the young fold mountains like Himalayas, okay, and creating irreparable damage not only to the mountain system but also to the climatic patterns here. But that is a very sensitive, eco-sensitive area. Weaker western disturbance also reported, very less rainfall, and reduced runoff. Hindu Kush Himalayas. Again, information. Again, an information important for you. Again, an information important for you. Now, so Hindu Kush mountain extends around 3,500 kilometers. So what we are finding is, where is Hindu Kush mountains? Hindu Kush mountains. So let's see. So here Hindu Kush, the upper part of the Afghanistan extended to Central Asia. From Pami north, where various mountain ranges are actually going in different direction, including our Himalayas, going in different direction, including our Himalayas. Now, Our Himalayas going till what? Northeastern. The HKH mountain extend around 3,500 kilometers over the 8 countries, starting from Afghanistan, even the Bangladesh upper hilly areas, Bhutan, China, India, Nepal, Myanmar and Pakistan. 8 areas. Hindu Kush Himalayas. So Hindu Kush Himalayas spans 8 countries. And these mountains also called the water towers of Asia because they feed multiple rivers. Again, in this mountain map, you can see what various locations, very interesting for you to remember also. So Pamirs, Hindu Kush, Kirthar Range, Suleiman, Karakoram, Ladakh, Zanskar, all these are important. Dafla Hills, Miri Hills, Mishmi Hills in Arunachal Pradesh, Garo Hills, Khasi Hills, Jantia Hills. So these are the hill and mountain map. So this hill and mountain map should be studied by you again from the location which the UPSC can ask from east to west, west to east. Arrange these hills. Now, these river basins provide water to almost 1/4 of the world's population and are significant freshwater source for people in the HKH region. Now, what is ICIMOD? So, ICIMOD is an intergovernmental organization founded in 1983. Where are the headquarters? Kathmandu, and is serving all the 8 nations. Conduct regional scientific research, pilot fields and informs mountain development and climate adaptation policy. Now, so once I am going through all these things in the class, yes, I am highlighting multiple things and many things will be resonating in your mind, will be remaining in your mind as being spoken might be, and that becomes basically embedded in your mind somewhere. When you see those things which I highlighted on the board, that means you will be generating pictographic, photographic memory also. So all those things embedded in the mind through the classes, pictographic memory will be very, very useful for you once you appear in the exam. And once you do the revision on your own on the basis of these handouts, those will be becoming very concrete in nature. Hence, next focus is now again a glacier, Yala Glacier, which has almost become extinct. Yala Glacier, where in Nepal, was declared a dead glacier after losing more than 2/3 of its ice cover or area. It is also a part of HKH, also part of Hindu Kush Himalayan region. Now about Yala Glacier, location situated in the Langtang Valley, that is central Nepal. Important information. Yala Glacier itself an information. Nepal. It's basically declared dead glacier is also an information itself. And further, situated in the Langtang Valley, central Nepal is itself a good information. It's basically information to be remembered. Now central Nepal, not in what? Okay, so where is central Nepal? Almost here. Now, this is result of what? Cryosphere warming. So, cryosphere warming, basically the permanent snow cover is actually declining, or the declining in terms of what the snowfall precipitation, that is also declining. So, here important information here is about the Yala Glacier. Yala is the only Himalayan glacier listed in the global glacier casualty list. That means the glacier which are becoming dead. So, there is again a record which is being kept of the glaciers becoming extinct. So, the Yala Glacier is the only glacier so far from the Hindu Kush Himalayan region which has been declared as dead by this particular list, Global Glacier Casualty List, launched in 2024. Again, when we see this map, very interesting. Mount Kailash, Nanda Devi, Dholagiri, Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Namcha Barwa, again arranging these peaks from east to west, east to west and west to east. Now, what is the global glacier casualty list? It was launched in 2024 by the Rice University, that is University of Iceland, Rice University of Iceland and Iceland Glaciological Society. Purpose: documents endangered or vanished glaciers. Now, examples of listed glaciers. So, Humboldt Glacier in Venezuela vanished. Venezuela has lost all its glaciers. Venezuela has become the first country to lose all its glaciers. Humboldt Glacier is gone. Then Sarine Glacier, France disappeared in 2023. Then Dagu Glacier, China, critically endangered, expected to vanish by 2030. So that means global glacier casualty list can be seen as an IUCN for glaciers. IUCN red list for glaciers. For glaciers. So global glacier casualty list or casualty list. Now, next information is real field temperature. What is real field temperature? Now, real field temperature, for example, though the temperature may be 35, but when the humidity is being added, it feels like 45. Now, for example, when you go to the BBC website, BBC weather, so once the, for example, type, for example, living in New Delhi, yes, New Delhi, type New Delhi temperature. So it will be showing the temperature for next 15 days, 14 days. And once you click on temperature, it is 36, if that is the month of June or July. So 36 degree, if the temperature is being shown, it will be written there, feels like 46, feels like 46 because of the humidity. So what is the real field temperature? Often referred to as heat index. The real field temperature is a calculated value that combines actual air temperature with the relative humidity, to be noted, to indicate how it feels to the human body. The real field temperature fluctuates throughout the day based on the temperature and humidity. So when humidity is high, sweat evaporates less efficiently, making it harder for the body to cool itself, making the air feel much hotter. So what is the difference between real field and actual temperature? So basic difference is actual temperature, temperature measured by thermometer, perceived temperature combining various factors, influencing air temperature only, influencing air temperature, humidity, wind speed and solar radiation. Human perception not relevant, but here highly relevant because the people may be getting the heat strokes. So maybe thinking that maybe 35 degree, but actually it is 45 degree, highly relevant for them to take precautions. Standard meteorological report used for creating more accurate public advisories. So advisories are being issued here. Now the question is the real field temperature actually officially tracked in our country or not? The answer is it is not officially used in India's weather bulletins. To be noted. Now, other countries including US and Japan use real field metrics. That means it is being used across the world, and there is a way of measuring this that is termed as wet bulb globe temperature to assess the heat stress. So this is a way, this is a method to actually assess the real field temperature. So wet bulb globe temperature is being used for which of the following? That is for measuring real field temperature. Now, super typhoon Ragasa. Typhoon means, again we are talking about the Pacific, means the western Pacific touching the Japan and the China side of area. So super typhoon Ragasa struck Taiwan. What is super typhoon? It is termed as a category 5 hurricane impacting the West Pacific region near China, Japan and the Philippines. Now, a criteria is also given by IMD. So, IMD, again you have to read about IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. Again, its origin, its background and its its activities, IMD, and what are the various IMD reports. Now, so it's talking about certain type of what pressure systems, low pressure system, depression, deep depression, cyclonic storm. So when a depression is going to emerge into a cyclonic storm, is basically at the wind speed of 61 to 88 kilometers per hour. Severe cyclonic storm is 88 more than to reaching more than 100 kilometers per hour, and super cyclone is more than 221 kilometers per hour. This is as per the IMD classification. As per the IMD classification. Economy. Now, so though I have given the content which is very large in terms of number of pages, I was also trying to assess how much to be covered in a day. Now, there was initial glitches in terms of starting a class. We may have lost initial 10 minutes. First of all, the class timing is 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. I remind, the class timing is 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. As we have lost around 10 minutes today in the initial glitches of starting a class. So tomorrow the class will be starting 10 minutes early. So remind, we will starting from 7:20 a.m. tomorrow, 7:20 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Okay. So I want to take your opinion. Should I will be starting from this portion first, or should I share a new handout which can be what all the things which are completely new, not covered in this handout? Should I start from here, the economy part, or I will be sharing a completely new handout for the coverage? So I want to take your opinion. So please give your opinion. I hope I'm audible. Okay, so I will be giving new handouts also. Yeah, I will be giving you new handouts also, and I will be starting the class with this economy, and I will be going again a little faster. Yes. So I just want to test whether the pace is fine, or should I be increasing the speed? Okay, so new handouts might be fine. Hemant is saying, Abhijit is saying, Tejas is saying, yes, I will be sharing a new handout. And there's one opinion, Karimunusa is saying from the economy, sir. So basically what I will do is, I will be sharing a new handout, but I will be covering certain portions of this also. I hope this is very clear. Okay, pace is fine, we are able to follow. Okay. So just as a reminder, tomorrow the class will be starting from 7:20 a.m. in the morning. So please note down in your diaries. So 7:20 a.m. in the morning I will be starting, as we have lost 10 minutes of start today. And normally the class timing will be 7:30 to 9:30. So I'll be sharing a new handout tomorrow, but I will be starting from this part, so that we are going to move in a little more faster and brisk speed. Yes. Again, I will be highlighting, because now you understood what to be the focus area in the current affairs. Current affairs itself, which organization it is highlighting towards, which period of history it is focusing on, and these are the areas which you need to work on your own from your static notes, or maybe your basic subject part. So on this note, let's conclude the class today. I hope it was an very good, informative session for all of you, and you would have now becoming more committed to in terms of going to the current affairs and attending a class on regular basis. So thank you for participation. I hope the things are very clear. Thank you, Hemant. Thank you, Karimnissa. Okay, thank you, others. Okay, so let's meet tomorrow definitely with more and more information. Thank you. Thank you. So let's end the class. Thank you.